Tonight on News 22.
Managers at Tao's restaurant are on the lookout after a student found a roach.
Many people are cleaning up after the windstorms.
And learn some tips to stay healthy while flying.
All that and more on News 22 Thursday. Tonight on News 22.
Managers at Tao's restaurant are on the lookout after a student.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Adon Contreras. We start with breaking news tonight. The El Paso sector of the Border Patrol this afternoon announced they are running out of room.
Because of this, they say they will be releasing undocumented immigrants into the community until their court hearings. That's all we know at this time. Watch your local news outlets till this story continues.
On to our top story today. You never want to see a roach in a kitchen, but it's exactly what one student saw on a door in the Taos restaurant on campus.
News 22's Alyssa Thays explains why one student says she's not going to return to the restaurant for a while.
I'm standing outside of Taos restaurant here at New Mexico State University, and it was right here that a student saw a roach in the kitchen. She posted it on social media for all to see.
You're looking at a video of a cockroach crawling on the door at Taos restaurant. It's hard to make out at first, but once she zooms in, the large critter is obvious. Rianne Charlie caught the bug on camera Monday morning.
And I was pretty shocked. I didn't know what to do.
Charlie was already running late to class, so she left.
Unfortunately, I didn't talk to anybody about it. I should have. I know I should have.
She decided to post it on Twitter, and word spread.
A few likes and retweets, and then people started mentioning NMSU, NMSU Roundup, and Sodexo.
She says Sodexo direct messaged her about what she saw. They asked her for her contact information.
So for Sodexo to actually reach out, I was surprised, but I was pretty glad as well.
In a statement from Dwayne Wisniewski, operations director at Sodexo, he writes, "Our staff has been made aware of the incident at one of our restaurants, and we want to assure our customers that we take this matter seriously, and we have strict policies and inspection schedules in place. It is an unfortunate incident, but it is isolated." Some students say they're not surprised.
I lived here freshman year and I ate at Taos and stuff. It wasn't the cleanest place.
But I mean, it happens. You can't always catch all the bugs.
Charlie says she'll take a break from Taos for a while.
It's hard to stop because I still do have a meal plan, as well as many other students.
For other students, it's not going to stop them from eating there.
I mean, I got a meal plan, so I got a bunch of swipes.
I mean, as long as it's not in my food, you know, I think it'll be okay.
Wisniewski says this incident does not affect their health rating, and he says he and his team are looking into solutions. Reporting from Corbett Center, Alyssa Thays, News 22.
Well, the wind has been blowing all over the place these last couple days.
It definitely has. And Mandy is next with your first look at weather.
That's right, the wind has really been hitting us hard, and it still is right now, 28 miles per hour as our current conditions of wind. 65 outside our door, partly sunny skies. Humidity sits at 13 degrees. Dew point at 13 degrees. Barometer at 29.80 inches. Today we saw a high of 66, while below our average of 77. Tonight's low at 43. And just last year we actually saw a record high of 92 degrees, a very warm one. 2013 saw a record low of 50. Saw no rain today, so our yearly rainfall sits at 0.63 inches. That's all I have for your current conditions. I'll be back later to talk your national forecast, but for now, more news.
The city of Las Cruces is having to clean up after the crazy winds from yesterday and today. The winds caused problems across the city, including damages to city property, litter and debris in parks and ponds, and overturned trash cans all over town. The winds caused a portion of Doña Ana Road to close temporarily yesterday due to blowing dust and limited visibility. We will have more about the wind situation later in our 5-day forecast.
While we're cleaning up after the wind, more than a million people across 12 states are under a winter storm warning.
And though the storm is not as bad as predicted, officials are still issuing warnings to use caution and stay indoors. Omar Jimenez reports from Minneapolis, where the weather just a few days ago was in the 70s.
At least a half inch of liquid is frozen on top of my driveway and sidewalk.
A serious spring storm unleashed blizzard conditions from the Dakotas through Minnesota. Wind gusts over 100 miles per hour were recorded. prompting officials to warn people to stay off the roads.
And the bad thing about being out and about this time of year is a lot of the ditches are full of water. The river's right up to the side of the road, so travel's not really safe at all.
I put my snow tires away last week. A week ago today. I didn't expect this at all. This is unbelievable.
Airlines are making accommodations for affected travelers. Frontier and United are allowing customers scheduled to fly through the Plains region Thursday to rebook tickets at no cost. Delta is waiving fees for travelers who wish to change flights. Another big concern is additional flooding through the plains. Parts of the region could get as much as 2 feet of snow by Friday morning, followed by rain, damaging winds, hail, and possibly tornadoes, which could be devastating to parts of Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa, where residents are still recovering from intense flooding.
I worry about them, you know, all the water coming down the river, so it's a big concern.
In Minneapolis, I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
Another priest is found guilty of sexually abusing a child, this time at a cemetery. This is not the first case in which 81-year-old Arthur Peralt has been accused of abusing children. Several men testified against him in Santa Fe. In this particular incident, the person claims to have been touched inappropriately as many as 100 times. A sentencing hearing for Peralt has not yet been scheduled. Imagine you're driving and you honk to avoid an accident. But then the car slows down and the passenger pulls out a gun. That's what happened to a Las Cruces woman. She was on Loman when an SUV drifted into her lane, nearly hitting her. She honked and police say the SUV slowed down and the passenger leaned out and threatened her with a gun. When she tried to get away, police say the men continued to have the gun and yell obscenities. She called 911. Adam Cardenas Jr. is now in the Doña Ana County Jail without bond. No charges have been filed.
People often save their money to buy a car, but one man used a fraudulent check to get his wheels. 44-year-old Kenneth Michael Harper purchased a vehicle at a Doña Ana used car dealership with a counterfeit check this last March. The vehicle was reported stolen by the dealership and found by police later when performing a traffic stop. He is charged with the felony count of forgery, but was released on bond the next day. Police say additional charges are possible.
The FBI is on the lookout for Jaden Bailey Barnhill. Barnhill is wanted for the violation of the conditions of her pretrial in Albuquerque. On April 2nd, Barnhill escaped from her halfway house and has not been seen or heard of since. She is considered to be armed and dangerous. Anyone who knows her whereabouts should immediately call the FBI.
You might want to steer clear of Arrowhead Park Early College High School this Saturday. Operation Trailblazer, an active shooter exercise, will take place from 7 a.m. until noon at Arrowhead. First responders, local hospitals, and emergency personnel will be participating. Organizers have asked that the public steer clear of the area during the exercise out of safety precaution. The high school campus will be closed during the exercise.
A stunning allegation by Attorney General William Barr.
He suggested to lawmakers Wednesday that Donald Trump's presidential campaign was spied on, but did not elaborate on the claims. Sunland Surfity reports.
I think spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur.
An explosive statement from Attorney General William Barr, echoing unproven claims from President Trump.
For the same reason we're worried about foreign influence in elections, we want to make sure that during an election, I think spying on a political campaign is a big deal.
Barr's comments coming under scrutiny from the former director of national intelligence during the 2016 campaign.
I thought it was both stunning and scary. The term spying has all kinds of negative connotations, and I have to believe he chose that term deliberately.
Barr telling senators his team will examine the genesis and conduct of the FBI's counterintelligence probe into potential ties between the Trump campaign and Russia.
I am not saying that improper surveillance occurred. I'm saying that I am concerned about it and looking into it. That's all.
The Justice Department watchdog is already looking into separate allegations the FBI abused its powers in surveilling former Trump foreign policy aide Carter Page. But Barr offered no evidence to substantiate his spying claim.
They spied on me. They spied on our campaign. Who would think that's possible?
Barr igniting a firestorm with Dems over the Attorney General's independence.
The chief law enforcement officer of our country is going off the rails. He is the Attorney General of the United States of America, not the Attorney General of Donald Trump.
And President Trump taking his attacks on the Mueller probe to a new level.
This was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president. And we beat them. We beat them.
That was Sunland Surfity reporting. Meanwhile, Barr says he hopes to make the redacted version of the Mueller report public next week. And stay tuned, Mandy will be back with your national forecast.
But later, find out how you can take better care of yourself in your travels this summer. More on that when News 22 continues.
Hi, I'm Nora Show, Program Manager for KRWG. As part of National Poetry Month this April, KRWG has a poetic special in store for you. A Place to Stand tells the amazing story of how Jimmy Santiago Baca became a celebrated poet, novelist, and screenwriter. This special takes viewers into Jimmy's past and present to uncover how the power of the written word lifted him from the violence and pain that had defined his early life. Tune in Sunday, April 28th at 5 p.m. for A Place to Stand.
Donating your used car, truck, RV, or motorcycle to KRWG-Public Media means more support for the programming you enjoy. Making a tax-deductible donation is easy at KRWG.org. We'll handle everything from towing and title to paperwork and tax receipts. So go online today to KRWG.org. You'll find the link to vehicle donations under Support KRWG.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Thursday.
Where news matters.
Good news for postmenopausal women at risk of bone fractures.
A new drug has been released by the FDA. The drug is aimed at women suffering from osteoporosis who have a history of risk of bone fractures. The side effects, however, include risk of heart attacks, strokes, and vascular death. The drug called Evenity is expected to be available
The New Mexico Department of Health has reported that the number of ambulatory care sensitive condition hospitalization rates have gone down. This is due to the state making sure there is more easily access of outpatient medical care facilities. It is stated the people with these conditions should be going to outpatient care clinics instead of being hospitalized. Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is concerned. People are paying too much for their medication. This is not the first time he has spoken out about these issues.
We should not tolerate a system which allows the top 10 drug companies to make $69 billion in profits last year, while at the same time, and this is really unbelievable, 1 out of 5 Americans who get a prescription from their doctor cannot even afford to fill that prescription. How crazy is that?
You can expect to hear more about his healthcare policies and others during his 2020 presidential campaign.
NMSU is going to hold a public health and policy conference. The College of Health and Social Services will hold the conference on April 12th. The conference is free and open to the public. It will feature a panel of distinguished speakers. They will be discussing how students can make their research useful to the program and policy decision makers. It will start at 8 a.m. at Pete Dominici Hall, and the speakers will begin their talk at 9.
As the summer travel season is about to begin, here are some tips to stay healthy when you fly.
Reed Binion has details in today's Health Minute.
An airline cabin can double as a flying petri dish when not maintained properly. The enclosed space, recirculated air, and large numbers of people make planes prime breeding grounds for bacteria. The tray table, the place where passengers rest their food, was by far the most contaminated surface tested. It was followed by the overhead air vent, the lavatory flush button, and the seatbelt buckle. So what can travelers do to help fend off illness above cruising altitude? Carry antibacterial wipes and hand sanitizer. Wipe down tray tables, seatbelt buckles, armrests, and seatback pockets when you sit down. Hydrate. Because the air in the plane's cabin is recirculated, it contains less humidity than most people are used to. Choose a window seat. People who sit by the window have the smallest risk of infection because they have the least contact with other passengers. For today's Health Minute, I'm Reed Binion.
We already know it's been pretty windy here lately, but I wonder how the rest of the country is doing.
That's right, and Mandy's going to tell us all about it next with the weather.gov national forecast.
We're definitely not the only ones seeing the wind, but taking a closer look at home just so you all can get an idea, this dark blue area that you see in New Mexico and El Paso, that's indicating 30+ mile-an-hour winds. Now we're looking at 34 mile-per-hour gusts in El Paso, a little bit higher at 37 mile-per-hour gusts in Albuquerque. And I know these winds have definitely been causing people headaches. I know I can speak for myself, and I'll explain that here in my next map at a pollen outlook. Now this grass pollen, this dark red area and this dark orange area in our region is what's been really causing these very high levels of grass pollen due to the grass, through the wind as well, which is why we've all been feeling kind of drowsy, kind of stuffy, but luckily there is an end in sight, as you'll see here in my final map. It's an outlook at the rest of the country. 78 degrees with clear, calm skies for our Sunday in El Paso. 73 degrees in Albuquerque with clear, calm skies for your Sunday as well. So luckily there is a nice, perfect weekend to look forward to after this crazy wind all week long. I'll be right back to talk your local conditions, but for now, let's take a break.
Morning Edition, weekdays from 5 to 9 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
Can you imagine taking a rough piece of wood like this and turning it into American folk art, which is what you did? What's the toughest part of this?
It wasn't. I just worked the plan and kept working away the wood.
So tune in for the plan.
Saturday morning at 8:30.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a look at temperatures across New Mexico. Now Farmington, you're sitting at 48 degrees, a bit chilly. Santa Fe, chillier at 47 degrees. Albuquerque, 53 degrees currently. Clovis at 52. Las Cruces, we're at 65, and Deming at 64. Tomorrow we're going to see much of the same cooler temperatures. Farmington at 56, Gallup chilly 48 degrees, Ruidoso 49, Roswell at 67, here in Las Cruces at 64, and Deming at 59. In Alamogordo tonight you're looking at partly cloudy skies at 42 for your low. High for tomorrow at 60 with cloudy skies. In TRC, you're looking at 46 tonight for your low. Tomorrow's high at 61 with those cloudy skies. Silver City, you are still going to be seeing that wind, but it should be all gone by tomorrow. Cloudy skies with 50 degrees. And here at home, low tonight of 43, a high tomorrow of 50. I'll be back later to talk your 5-day forecast, but for now, more news.
Police in Houston have a man in custody after a high-speed chase.
Gabriel Chavez has more in today's Southwest Minute.
6 officers chased the suspect for nearly 30 minutes today using the pit maneuver to stop him.
The suspect ended up jumping a curb outside of a Burger King before he surrendered to officers. No word yet on what led to the high-speed pursuit. In Tucson, Arizona, a woman is under arrest for the murder of her twin grandsons. Police say 55-year-old Dorothy Flood killed her grandsons by shooting them twice. She then tried to kill herself with an overdose of prescription drugs. Paramedics revived her and she told them the details of the crime. She is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Police have her on suicide watch. Near Pacific Grove, California and Monterey Bay, creatures similar to what you have seen on the Netflix original Stranger Things have been popping up. These sea creatures are called Velella, but are better known as sea crafts. They also have another name, by the wind sailors. The wind is blowing them towards shores because they float along the surface of the ocean. They can sting you, but they are not as dangerous as their cousins, the man-o'-war. I'm Gabriel Chavez with the Southwest Minute.
Well, the baseball team has a big weekend series coming up.
I heard about that, and Claire is next to tell us more in sports.
Thanks, Don and Diana. Coming up in sports, find out how many NMSU students received academic WAC honors. We'll be right back with News 22 Sports.
Joseph Pulitzer. He led the fight for a free press.
A journal that will battle for the people, that will expose all fraud and sham.
Here comes Pulitzer saying news is really about what happens to ordinary people.
Pulitzer helped convince Americans that they had to become a nation of newspaper readers.
As a journalist and publisher, he was the voice of the people.
It was a world of print, and the master of that world was Pulitzer.
Look for Joseph Pulitzer on American Masters.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
We are go at this time.
Ignition sequence start.
10, 9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
We have liftoff.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Friday at 9:30 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Claire Cabello, and let's talk sports. The New Mexico State soccer team has 2 new additions for the 2019 season. Head coach Rob Bartz added Amanda Ellman and Ellie Gonzalez to the lineup. Ellman is a midfield from California, and Gonzalez is a forward from Arizona. The Aggies are looking forward to their season starting in the fall 2019 semester. NMSU is so proud of their student athletes as many of them received WAC honors. On Wednesday, it was announced that 31 New Mexico State students from the swimming and diving team and the track and field team received academic all-conference awards. To be eligible for this honor, a student athlete must complete at least 1 academic year, have at least a 3.2 cumulative GPA, and have participated in at least 50% of the team's contests. The NMSU softball team will be on the road this weekend. The Lady Aggies will take on conference newcomers California Baptist on Friday and Saturday. Both days will be a doubleheader for the 2 teams, with Friday's game beginning at 1 p.m. and Saturday's game starting at 11 a.m. Once the Aggies return home, they will start their week with the game against Loyola Marymount on Monday, April 15th at 2 p.m. The NMSU baseball team is getting ready for their 3-game series this weekend. The Aggies will be hosting Northern Colorado for their 4th conference series. The men are going into the weekend with a record of 22-9. The Aggies will then travel to Albuquerque to take on rival New Mexico on Tuesday, April 16th. Women's tennis player Pun Chanachai has received the WAC Golfer of the Week honor after setting a program record 6 individual win at the Wyoming Cowgirl Classic. The record was last held by former Aggie and current LPGA golfer Elena Sharp. This is the 3rd time Chanachai has received the award this spring. Since the women's regular season is finished, they are set to compete in the WAC tournament at the Oak Brook Golf Course in Lakewood, Washington on April 18th. The Aggies will be trying to bring home their 5th conference title in the last 6 years. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action next week. Still ahead in News 22, Mandy will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, a furry friend is looking for a new home. More on that when News 22 continues.
On Cool the Midwife.
You see children out on the street with it covered in a rash, spreading it around. Oh, no, 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 please. I think my baby's dying. Boy or girl?
All those operations and treatments. We can make sure you have help with the children. Sunday at 7 p.m. On the next Makers, women engage the electorate
The status quo must go!
and take office.
There was an incredible rising up by women's voices.
Don't get mad, get elected. Makers, Women in Politics. Sunday at 11 p.m.
If I were to ask you at that time, why are you drinking? What would you have said?
Why wouldn't you? I did not aspire to be an alcoholic. That's not what I dreamt of growing up.
A good third of the patients in my practice have an issue with alcohol.
It's a societal disease. We all are affected by it.
I'm Dr. Peter Salgo. Join us this week for Second Opinion. Sunday at 1:30 p.m.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Alyssa Baez told us about the bug that was found at the Taos restaurant on the campus of New Mexico State. The city of Las Cruces is in cleanup mode after the hectic winds that blew yesterday and today. And in today's Health Minute, Reed Binion explains some tips on how to stay safe on an airplane.
A Chicago zoo is looking for a new home for one of their cutest inhabitants. This adorable river otter pup was born on the Brookfield Zoo on February 26th. The otter received special treatment from the zoo staff after his mother Charlotte rejected him. The problem after doing that is that Charlotte is unlikely to accept him back. Experts say the best option for the pup is to go to another facility that has otters the same age. They are currently deciding where to send him.
Such a sad story, but I really hope that otter finds a home very soon.
I do too. So Mandy, tell us what the next 5 days are looking like.
Well, the wind did not only bring in the dust, it also brought in the cold temperatures, which is good. We're going to be being in the upper 60s for Friday and Saturday. But on Sunday, we're going to be back to 80, and on Monday, we're going to be at 87 degrees. And Tuesday, unfortunately, the wind will be back. It could bring some rain, but we'll talk all about that more next week. But crazy weather we've been seeing, guys.
Yes, we have.
For sure.
Yes, we have. And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Thursday. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Tune in next week for more news across the Southwest. I'm Medan Contreras.
I'm Diana Castillo.
And I'm Amanda Adame. Good night.
Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22, con ustedes Coral Godoy. La policía arrestó a un hombre sospechoso por apuntar con una pistola a una mujer el martes por la mañana mientras manejaban. El hombre de 23 años, Adam Cárdenas Jr., es acusado de un cargo de 4º grado por asalto agravado por un arma mortal. El martes por la mañana, una mujer que estaba conduciendo sufrió un incidente cuando su automóvil fue golpeado por otro automóvil que entró a su carril. Después de esto, el pasajero del otro automóvil se asomó por la ventana y le apuntó con una pistola a la mujer. Cárdenas fue arrestado e ingresado en el centro de detención del condado de Doña Ana, donde inicialmente se encuentra detenido sin fianza. No se han presentado cargos contra el conductor. La policía de Las Cruces detuvo a Kenneth Michael Harper, de 44 años, y fue ingresado al centro del condado de Doña Ana por haber usado un cheque fraudulento para comprar un auto usado con una cuenta inexistente. Harper está acusado de un delito de falsificación en 3er grado. Investigadores descubrieron que el mes pasado Harper asistió a un concesionario de autos entregando un cheque falso de $3,900 para comprar una Chevy 2002. El 8 de abril, la policía detuvo a Harper y descubrieron que Harper estaba en posesión de una tarjeta fraudulenta y una cuenta bancaria inexistente. Esto fue todo por hoy. Muchas gracias por sintonizarnos. Para ustedes, Coral Godoy, Noticias 22.